Oh, it's very good. I'd take it. No matter what, he's well worth listening to. All right, we have Duke Sven's class. This is going to be beat stick, and then after he shows this great drill, which you can find online, of course, after this drill, he will do sword and shield and two-stick verse and against.
You got a class going on. What the hell?
This is Pennsic, the Pennsic crew working very hard right there. Thank the Pennsic crew. All right. And if you need, I got two more, but they're not the beat sticks.
Barry's got some there.
Okay, good.
I know that
And I got two with bass scales still. So,
yeah.
All right.
We'll use those for the intro teaching portion, right? As we go into how to.
All right. Once again, Sven's class is starting now.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sven. I actually used to be a foam fighter long before I got in the SCA for probably 18 years. And now I've been coached 4 times. Pretty good at fighting two swords specifically. But a lot of us really, I think, we help pioneer using foam-padded weapons to train how to learn two-sword or how to fight a sword shooter against a two-sword guy. So some of the drills we're going to cover first are how we teach reading skills. So weapon speed in the SCA is considerably slower than what a foam weapon would be. And I believe you learn to block it at the speed you train at, right? So if you're always training number 10, that's kind of what you get used to. And so the more SCA I play, the harder it is for me to actually foam fight and read. So we'll use some foam bats to do some basic training drills to kind of tune your mind to a faster speed in the industry, because if you can block, read, and throw with foam bats, it's very easy to slow that down and just throw the power behind stuff. I'm a big believer in it. It's like if you've never watched collegiate fencing, it seems very fast to you, right? But the more you fence, the easier it is. It's the same principle. You learn to read and react to what you are physically training with. So if you're only training with SCA stuff and you're struggling with people who are necessarily quick or in good positions, sometimes it's how you perceive it. And so we do a lot of foam bat training. And so these are specifically Cervarians use them. These are made by Forge Foam. There's several manufacturers out there who sell. Most of them for F guard, dagger hair, belly guard. These are bats. It's what we recommend for training because there's no edge on them. The foam bats are the blades are more difficult to use if you're not, because you hit with a flat and it's unpleasant, so we tell it, use the bat. Because really what you're trying to work on is to not do it. Barry's done this a couple times, we'll mess with him a little bit. So our primary drill would be like a block strike drill, and it's really, with two sword and various things, what gets you killed is what we call hand jerk. They're reading and have big movements and getting out of position with looking at stuff. And as you get used to being in a better position with blocking and seeing, the amount you have to move physically with your arm and body becomes much smaller. So the more you do that, the easier it is to be in the right place at the right time. So block strike is essentially, these are 36-inch weapons. We are typically sword foot, sword hand, 36 inches apart. And the target will be on the outside of his arm, and then in most foam games the face is illegal, so we call it the back body, your chest shoulder area. You try to hit essentially across the line. So those two targets, they can be moved around so long as they both cross the frame. So we will start right on right.
Oh, I win!
One of us is going to switch to our left hand, we're going to do a minute right on right, a minute left on right. The other person will switch right on right, and we'll finish the other left on right. So it's a 4-minute drill, typically with a 1-minute rest period, with foam bats. It sounds like that's not a lot, but it can be very exhausting if you haven't done it before. Yeah, we're just going to work on outside arm and your chest. Try and get used to reality, because all that other stuff is with movers. And so we're not going to do any faking or anything, because foam bats are so fast. The position, the amount of time it takes to run position is pretty small, right? So when you stutter, small movements get you killed. So generally all I'm trying to do is block and throw. It doesn't matter if I got hit or not, I can acknowledge it or not. A lot of these things getting used to that time, not learning how to be in the right place at the right time, not always reaching for stuff. So we consider this a primary, secondary block. So if I'm throwing outside, generally I'm going to stay in that lane where I was. I'm going to attempt to block what I consider primary, the fastest return. And then by proxy, I only have to watch to see if it's crossing my vision, which would be secondary. And And if you're actually sparring, it would be like primary, secondary, tertiary. We're not worried about that right now. Right now, it's just primary, secondary. It's a good training field to get used to zone blocking. So, Barry, you can do what you want.
He's also really long.
Yeah, my advice is you don't need to get so long. I am long and my hips are square.
Square your hips more. Try it again with your square hips.
So I fight.
Harder blocking.
It is, but it's easier to return.
That's right.
So, outside arm. No, just say outside first. Keep it right.
What? Oh, they do. They're tiring. How fast they are. Oh, nice.
You don't have a trigger. Good. You have arm on too. Same thing. Back body. That's that arm.
He's always returning back to a good position, right?
I would switch. Hit each side.
This is good for you. Suck it up.
Outside, inside.
Hey, we love the way this sucks where you suck more.
I know what goes on.
He's just so tired now.
A lot of that is just a drill getting used to. As soon as you need to block, throw it. Some of those, you're not trying to return. I'm just returning to the hand to get him to throw into a lane that I want. So the return behind it is the fast one, right? So you're not always trying to kill him. You're just trying to get used to that. Be in a good position. Small movement, small blocks.
When you say get into throwing the hand, you mean in your shoulder.
So like, so
Right, holding down the center.
I'll take your question.
So if we're doing blocks right, and so if I'm fighting you right on the right, I want you to throw outside. So a lot of times I will throw shallow into your hand right here. Anticipating because where we're at, you're going to want to throw outside, right? And I just cut the lane off early, Josh. So I throw it the hand, anticipating a quick return, and then just tackle behind it. The same as if I throw outside real high and over throw outside, you're going to want to try to turn back and let me throw. So a lot of times you're not trying to hit them, you're just trying to get yourself in a predictable return that makes your setup follow faster.
You want to give it a run for a second?
So what?
You want to give it a run for a second so you learn the exercise really well? And I'm sure he'll be nice to you.
So it would be easy your body basic, shoulder, chest.
Well, go. He'll make you do it with him. This is the idea of this class.
A lot of it is position, right? So if I'm throwing here and I block, so you're like watching your arm. A lot of it is being in a good position to be unhittable as a fast return. So you're trying to remove you as primary. You want them to not throw primary because it's typically the fastest and what they're best at, right? Right. Or if you know they like it, throw it and get in position to be ready for it, right? Because then you're fast. And really, you're just in a good position, right?
I see if you can do it without even getting tired.
So I'll go ahead and lead back like this. It's I throw, you throw back. We're not trying to fake. Just give it a time. Go ahead, sir.
All right, hold for a second. All right, now breathe.
Everybody hold my breath.
Breathe it all.
You're not breathing at all, Bobby.
So very good at this. And that's been a while, but
Yeah,
I was doing very good. Some of my students are really good now. But it's something that takes to use. And for average, I would have your hand so low. I would have it just a little higher. So because a low hand makes it easy to hammer it on. So if your hand's higher.
If I want to go here, am I really coming all the way up? Just going off.
Cross it, drop it, anything.
Yeah, remember, no edge. No edge on that
I
wedge.
don't care how you hit it.
Oh, no, it's more of, am I reaching around? Or is it you're really trying to...
You could shift and throw.
Literally right there because I've got your hand.
Yeah, and it's just being in a good position. That's the best shot to throw. Because if you go around, you're going to get hit on the time.
Sometimes so dumb like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, nice. There you are. Keep that hand
Oh, I
down.
got a block. What? I can hit you when you throw. No,
See how he's leaning into his feet. Lean forward and backward a little. That's a good try. Yeah.
Do I need to come over?
Watch his body move as he makes that block. See how his body turns.
And then
Kick this right in here. Turn it.
also,
All I do is just this, right?
But you're right. But you see how you're always forward.
I'm forward every time.
Yeah, and
so
I'm giving a little space.
relax.
Yeah, exactly. Being relaxed, and you're like,
Remember how hard it was
Well,
for me to
yeah,
reach him?
I'm trying to learn the drill and do it all.
so,
Remember how hard it was for me to reach him? I'm 6'3". I had a hard time reaching.
and I can hit you, but a lot of it's learning where you can press. I'm not as good as his Grace over there, but this, I can do.
Yeah.
Same thing, outside arm, you on the back body. Go ahead.
That's it. Watch your forward lean. There you go.
Oh, I'm totally lost it.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. That's it. Now you're moving your body a little.
Better. And it's powering, right?
Ah, that was
So
better.
now you would switch to your left hand.
I would switch
Right, right. But that that was much better. I really wanted you to see it so that you feel it.
Well, in terms of learning the as well as it, and not learning how to block it.
Exactly.
Just get comfortable staying hips forward, shoulders forward. People are off, and I was like, the more you'll learn to be patient with this, the easier it is for you to take, oh, I'm not quite where I need it to be. Instead of moving forward, you'll move forward. And you're like, hey, I need to go around. Reach forward. Reach forward. Right? So you're allowing your pressure and your movement to get you a better position. And it's teaching you to be a better. So we tell people when we play for real, we hit a ton of people right in the nipple, right in the arm, like just over and over and over again.
Yeah, I'm familiar with all of that, right?
Yeah, I know, me too.
All this armor.
So that is the basics of block strike. It's the number one drill that we teach people who are trying to that hand jerk, or we call it chainsawing or lawnmower. You'll see those newer fighters when they're reaching for stuff. We're like, did it start? They're like, what? I'm like, the lawnmower. You're ready to mow the yard. You keep jerking on it, right? And so it specifically helps relieve hand balance. Trying to get that in position. And so a lot of times, with repelling and various other things, if people have to put on the ground, you'll find that they'll do a lot of excessive cheating, reaching, and get their head in position. So we'll do the same thing, but on one foot. So if I was here for this race, we don't particularly care which foot you want to stand on, whatever. We prefer sword hand, because that's uncomfortable. So you in a very similar position, and we're not asking you to keep your foot up. You can just toe it down or whatever's comfortable. What we don't want is like using your feet. So if it's got to be lightly down, that's fine, but your ability to remove you reaching with your back. And so we would do the exact same thing. You sit over your hips a little bit, right? Good. Right, good.
Good.
That happens. A lot of it is just getting used to staying on that one foot.
Yeah.
And it's just a practice purpose. You're doing the same thing.
Your leg will love this after a while.
And we do the same thing with repel. We have a couple of repel routines and stuff we do. And a lot of times, like, most people feel like their kinetic energy and how this on as well, we remove our foot, right? And so we see if you're truly not hipping and everything, you're learning to throw very neutral. Because we consider you can throw and do all that stuff from a neutral stance. So you can add all the stuff you want to when you're fighting.
And you can throw it anywhere from beginning to end through that.
And you know what a basic shot feels like, so now we're just adding to it, right? Stepping, because we'll add stepping, we'll add small pieces. And the last thing we specifically do propelling and different things, so we're not wanting that big hip move, we'll do the exact same thing, but you'll kick it a little bit. Turn your toes in, your knees together. What that does, makes my hips face him. So I can no longer turn off, right? And so we got to be just a touch closer, but it's the exact same thing. It's getting used to having your breathing skills, where you want to be, and locking, that's fine, locking your hips in place. Go ahead. But notice how it makes you sit in shot and you can't go anywhere.
That's right.
And you're forced to just fight.
So now your movement's in here.
You have to fight in close. And so it teaches you to stay over your hips. And these are not all catch-alls and fix-alls, but they're ways to find small pieces of your game that you need to improve. And if you're here in my household, know people talk about it, I'll be like, hey, I'd like to be better. Our big thing is to people just suck less at what you're doing right now. So we always tell people, find the thing you're worst at and just suck less at that, right? And a lot of times it's movement, it's different things. Identify it in video, take notes every time it happens. Pick that, improve it. Pick the next best thing, improve that. And if you continue to work on those bottom skills that are terrible, you're a better fighter, and it's measurable, right? The idea of getting better is not. And a lot of times, the win-loss ratio is not how you decide whether you're getting better. It's skills, it's things you're not good at, or are you reaching with your back, or you're over your hips too much. Like, you're looking for things to fix. And some of this stuff is just how we fix those specifically, mostly from single sword. We teach left and right hands, whether you're a sword shield fighter, delayed fighter, two-sworder. We always teach even, both hands, because we don't like uneven development, right? Like, you shouldn't have one hand that does this, one hand that's not. We're going to teach everything at the same time. And so by proxy, these same bats, we'll have them taped up a little bit, and we'll put a ball or a couple on them. We'll do our hats and bats. When you're first learning two-sword, or you're first learning, in our case, how to fight sword shield against a two-sworder, everybody's getting hit a lot, right? Two-sworder in the beginning is just arms and legs. Shieldman fighting a good two-sworder gets hit in the body and the legs. It's a miserable experience. So whether you're new or experienced, the object of learning a new skill should not be pain-based. It should be fun. It should have a repetition to it. And if foam taught me anything, repetition is what you need to get into, right? And so we'll have our, typically wear our dimmies, and we'll have our helmets on, and we'll just have our basket sword, like I think Grace has a couple here, and then we'll fight whatever you want to fight, right? And then with newer players, you're working on that tension, not holding their breath, getting used to it, the measure of what's too close, what's too far away.
And you shouldn't be afraid.
Well, yeah, no, this takes that away, all right.
That space.
Yep.
Wait bang!
Wait, bang!
Wait bang! Can you bring my shield? Should be right over there, bud.
I got one.
I
can
shield,
get
I'll
one.
do two swords.
Yep, that's all. I got one. You can squat.
I'm watching back and forth here. So this is our counters class. So I do a lot of teaching out two sworders to fight shieldmen, and shieldmen to fight two sworders. And the first forever is with padded weapons. And I, coming from a foam background to here, have no idea how people got good at pain-based teaching.
I do. I have a lot of idea how pain-based teaching.
It's very awkward to me, right? You know, and how we do that. And so, like, say, right? I mean, I'm the newer two-sworder, right? So when you got new two-sword people, like, they're always in terrible positions. Where they get hit, they're just getting murdered in there, or they're getting hit in the arms because they're too long. And so these padded bats, and there's several ways to make them. I know Grace has one online. We recommend people buying a couple of good foam guys who make them for Camp, Bell, and Dag. And then Bassfield's, a couple of them know all of us. They'll just tell you want an SCA sparring bat, and they'll sell it to you. They're not the cheapest, but you'll get several years of use out of it, and they sell blade kits to reblade them when you're at that point. I am a big believer in teaching new people and learning new styles, specifically two-sword against the shieldman from a foam basis first. And so, like, when we first started working on it, I said, I'm the skilled two-sworder, it's Grace and shieldman we're working on. So all we're really working on is, like, is it when you should move. Like, from this position, we're like, hey, you're too close. Like, you should probably give a little ground, right? And they're like, I understand what you're talking about. So you just give both, hit them with the leg. You're like, hey, we're going to work on you not being so close. Like, first you get so so long as I can jump through your leg, you're too close. Now we work on that spacing. We work on that spacing. We work on that spacing. It's over and over again. And now we're like, hey, you're tired. Your shield's coming down. Like, what are you talking about? You know, like, right in the helmet. Right in the helmet. And so they're working on this repetition over and over again. You're like, all right, now I'm going to let you push the pace. Right? And so they're going to try to attack me. You know, whatever.
And you're giving that.
So if I got the ball, and it gives you the opportunity to work on small pieces of your game that you're not good at, without pain.
Without pain, and that's a real huge, because you don't want to go back and feel that pain again, so you never practice again.
And so my Thursday practice, I've run forever. That's either been Tuesday for probably 20 years now. The only fighting we ever do is we'll fight once every second month, maybe third month. We'll back to fight to see where people are. I tell people to take what we do at practice. You could use that at practice, but at our house we just work on the drills.
I just want to add to like his pushing the foam work. I did not start with foam. Before we met, I did not start with foam. And when I picked up Duke Sword, I would shower after practice and I'd be black from here down for months at a time.
And you don't really need that.
No, especially trying to work on a skill as a secondary skill or that stuff. To me, it's just easy to learn, and as long as you have your dimmies on, this is super fun. You got your shield, your sword.
It's also a lot safer.
Yeah, and you can just do rep after rep after rep after rep. And,
you don't
Thursday,
get worn out.
3-hour practice, we may fight 150 times, or more, just rotating in and out, because it's as your energy level goes, it's not your pain level. And so we'll have guys rotating in, specifically working on, if guys have two tendencies, the nights and stuff, we rotate in, working on their tendencies. Somebody's good at this, like, hey, they want to work on offense, we'll wait. Let them throw their offense, return behind. But it's just the approach. So, like, the movement thing, that's the first thing we generally teach is like, hey, is your leg open, right? Like, are you letting me do this too close? And now once he's got that, right, now, okay, I'm going to let you push me. Like, I'll feel comfortable with you. Now, like,
If I do this,
yeah. Like, go too close, right? You get too aggressive, too greedy. It's heel stepping.
right.
Or you're reaching.
Everybody know what a heel step is?
Yeah. So it's when you're taking measure with either a long step or a front to front with your heel. So that we specifically look for. So a lot of times when it's races at my edge of measure, I'll give a small step, waiting for people to chase me. And a lot of times they'll open with their wanting to take a lot of space, and I just return into their leg because now you're trapped rolling on that foot. And I tell people long steps are okay. So how I tell people if a step is too long, as if you're reaching out and it's on your heel, you can't go anywhere. That same step, generally
A little
shorter, a little wider,
or
right?
as long as your body's over it.
Yeah, so we tell people whole foot, ball of foot, preferably ball of foot. So if you're stepping out along and on the ball of your foot it's unstable, it's probably a little too long, right? You should have taken your back foot with you. So if I'm going to use a long lunge foot over the ball, I just bring my back foot with me.
And you guys, we went through this in class. You see, watch him do this. He's falling into that front foot.
And so it's a
That's a
falling
drop step.
It's a falling step, drop step. You can think of it like a skater step.
Yep, skater
When you're going
step.
to push off that skate. We're not picking this foot up to go. I'm essentially thinking about I'm pushing
Shifting
the
the
weight up,
body.
and I'm getting enough weight off of it as my body starts to fall, but I'm getting this foot up high enough.
Catching yourself.
So it's essentially a falling step. How you move to catch yourself, you're learning to utilize that to be such going forward. And so it's not here, it's learning to be such. And it can be small, it can be long.
It could be sideways. It could be like if he wants to shoot a different way, he does the same thing. If he wants to go backward,
It's learning, and it's not picking it up. It's literally I'm letting my body weight go down, and I'm pulling enough weight out of this foot, and my body goes through.
and at the same time, they use that, right? That drop step is moved to develop more power.
Yep, and that's when it's or and the hooks.
So Sven, when you do your left step, it always, in my mind, until you just said that, I always think that's a big step.
No.
But what you're telling me is a timing thing in a small step has.
So when I was younger,
because it looks like that.
When I was younger, it would be 2 steps. When I was younger, it would be like a small, like a hip roll, and Rags will do this now. You see that hip roll into
Another way.
And so I can't do that as predictably anymore as I've gotten older. It's particularly heavy. Sure. And so for me, when you're doing it, all I'm thinking about is I call it 66. I want to be 60 forward, 60 outside, trying to point my toe where I want my rack to be. So if my foot lands here, that's my apex of my swing. My foot is here, that's the apex of my swing. But if I'm out and out and my toe points in, when I go to swing, it will straighten my hips up where I want it to be. Yeah, because so I'm like, look, I'm lined up.
And I am not.
Right. You shouldn't step
But
right.
it's not a here, it's a drive that
Oh.
heel, boom. And it's easy to go with either foot.
And that allows you to corral people.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes much more sense. Sorry,
It makes
I didn't
it
mean
like,
to interrupt.
oh,
No, those are great questions.
And we teach it with bands. So we have some shorter bands. Little
Oh, I like it on their legs.
Yeah, I have some in my deal. So we'll teach it because a lot of people, they
Big step.
get big steps. And so we're trying to teach them when they're newer that when your feet's going, you want this. No matter what you do when you're taking a measure, your back foot needs to come. We teach them very hip forward, very square. Right? We want our hands in front of us and our hips under our opponents. I find that when your hips out, you're not fighting. So if I'm already hips out, he goes that way. I am forced to step, right?
And I'll do that all the time. Just to get his arms right.
But if I have both my hips fighting and he goes to the side, I just control it, right? And then he has to go really far before I even get or follow, right? And so truly, and it gives us that ability to push and pull.
And you'll find that, like, if we're out this far, like as we get better and better, so those steps just get shorter for him. If I'm here, all of a sudden we're tight. We're getting really tight. See how small that's not That's not a big step, right? He's moving like 2 inches.
Because I want to see if you want to go or you want to
100
stay.
because he knows he's a testing.
Yeah, because I want to, like, is he wanting to take or is he wanting to give? Is he a pull or is it a push?
So the closer you get to the edge, those steps become super small. And they're safer because there's less time between it being on the ground.
And as soon as I measure forward and I see him roll, I know to go. Or if I was too late in my recovery, I know to go.
Right. And
Because,
cover.
yeah, because at no time is he in my measure. This will never get you away. You're never going to get away, right? So if I'm too late, the moment I see him take it, I have to take it. But if I get out and I see him go early, I'm fine. I'm safe. But if you feel like somebody's got to step on you, straight back is never the answer. You should have just went forward or forward into the or forward into the top, depending on what your specialty is. Right. We as two swords chase the sword.
Question for both of you with the smaller steps. Do you find that becomes hard to be patient in the fight and using it? I know you were describing the smaller steps to be able to read what your opponent is doing.
No shot. Well, I came from another game, very skilled over there, one of the best in the world. When I got here, I probably threw 200 shots in the opponent, 100 some shots for it. Just very fast, very coin flipping. This is no case situation. Let's go, right? And you win a lot, you lose a lot, right? So as I got better, I threw less and less. And that was because I waited for better position. So I'm like, this is a maybe. Nah, this is a maybe. Just throw at the hand. What's that respond? You know, so you become more like you're waiting for a good opportunity, or you're just putting tension on your opponent, waiting for them to get tired. I carry two small bats that I carry typically up high with an open chest, shoulders back, and it doesn't take me a lot of energy to paw or to press it. And then I give ground very relaxed. They got to keep that shoulder. They got to pull and pressure on. So I let them.
So it just keeps them in tension.
Just put them in tension, you know, and just walk into every time I disengage. When you see me when I disengage, the first thing I do, if I have my hands down, you'll see me, I'll take that deep breath and then
Get the air out.
and if you have a good long exchange, you see a lot of long distance runs, so double clears. So as you get out, you take that deep breath, take a breath, helps you get all the skills out of the back of your lung. And I use that second breath as like that exhale, is that calming effect coming back into fight. You know, like, okay, breathe.
Do you breathe out on your front jab foot?
Now, typically, once I'm there, I just,
Yes, but
and then I
that's the
just,
breathe out, right?
and then I just stay relaxed. And the only time that I'm going is,
See how he blows out on that? And that gives the air pull back in when you're
and a lot of it is just that.
You see it boxing all the time.
And so a lot of times and when I'm giving,
You've talked at times about the forcing your opponent to breathe back in and then the time to exhale.
that's that tension. So if I'm particularly fighting these breaks here, right, and I've done a quick into a fly extension, you know, and I'm starting to give ground, and I feel him let a shield down, I'm going to make him.
Right, you want to get and pull my chest tight.
And it's not that I want to engage, I felt like he was relaxing. And so I want that tension. I want him to be like, that's it. And so by proxy, he's going to give ground to go out of my mouth.
Right, so if I'm fighting him,
He's going to give ground.
right in, see how I'm trying to get him back in attention constantly?
And so by proxy, as I give ground, I'll stand up because I want to breathe.
Right, and then I walk into a
He's
corner.
going to take the space, and then I'm going to try to push it back. You know? Because the goal is just to keep air, be ready,
And his job is to find those spaces to take it. Sometimes those spaces are like, if I'm keeping it tense, you might give me a jab push just to blow air out. See? And that gives him a second. That's all he needed.
Hard job step.
So on the, kind of drifted on your subject.
That's fine.
On when you're teaching the sword and shield, that's kind of approach. Is there everything you're talking about to me right now is stuff we teach both sides. When you specifically work with them as the shield person, facing the style.
So fighting my style. We're talking about specifically how I teach. My sword shield guys fighting my sword shields, right? So the most wrong position in any good two-sword we're in is typically around the neck, chin area, use it from the side as a jab, the forearm if they're lazy, or the hip leg, depending on their long step. Right? So typically I look at to see what my opponent or my student is. We've talked about this 1,000 times, but a lot of times hands are too far in, too far close. And so as a shield guy, I generally just deny the flat snap. I'm like, you're not going to kill me with your right hand. I refuse to be right snapped, right? And I'm okay if from the position, if he wants the right hand lead on me, if he throws at my leg when I lead, I'm just going to hit him in the face. My knight is known for just flat snapping you, just slapping you in the face over and over, just super good at it. He hit me 1,000 times in the mouth, right? And so from this position, typically I'm like, is a good over the slap. And so I just deny the right hand. You're not going to jab me down, right? We teach our guys not the right hand lead because the problem with two sword, when you jab your goalpost, you got your two little goalposts, you're like kick it right through my face. So we always tell people if you're gonna throw a right hand at a shieldman, that jab should be at their sword, it should be like in the lane at their face, but it never should be open. Right?
Keep it across your body. Every time, like I throw a shot, I got here.
Because you don't want to get
Across the throwing line.
And so typically it's left right. It's left right unless I'm hitting the hand or I'm blinding or specifically to the face.
And that's intentional. I just want to add a little tension.
Yeah, and a lot of that is to see what I can throw behind. You'll see a lot of times I'll tap you with a sword and throw behind the arm. I'll tap you with a sword, or you see I'll stab it here. But I still block against my
cross
right,
the body.
Yeah, with my right-handed opponent, right? So I am looking for an open face or open body. So I'm like, I feel like how open is he, right? So I'm going to apply that pressure. What's he got open? Is he reaching? You know?
Oh, he saw the outside
yeah,
head. He's going to crush me in the outside.
And so a lot of times, if you see people start to reach for that hand, it's coming too low. You just come here, you're just going to throw a quick high outside. Same principle. I see him going up too soon. The slot is not high. The slot is here. Like I Duke Timothy.
It's still covered up here on the throw.
Duke Timothy Aaron, I think that's the best. Brings his hand down and that hard ass just right in the face here. So I'm just that hard slot right here, right? Because it's far away from the other hand, and the right hand, if it ever leaves home, it just comes to the middle. If people hold their hands high, you're chopping them here. And you're chopping them from here. Okay. So it's easier to cover out, depending on what you need to cover, or just straight in front. That's what they do. So we teach a lot of slot leads from this angle. Right here, like trying to attack the chain. But primarily, one of most handed people you're fighting, they are right-handed. Right. Most people are right-handed. They are a right-handed person with a shitty shoot. Yeah. Right? So we snuff that out. We want to see, is he reaching? Is he reaching? What's he throwing with? What's he reaching with? A lot of people, if they're not good, will start to chase that slot, right? They'll chase particularly inside with one hand or the other, right? So a lot of times I'll see bad two-sworders starting to use that skinny shield. That's when I start working the form.
And then we're right back into that drill right there, right?
Gotcha.
And so all I do is I stutter, I see what he's reaching for, I'll either slot him, and once he starts curling,
pushed out.
Once he starts curling and chasing, he starts curling, I'm just going to rat him out. Yeah, and then just right to the outside.
Because normally you're very rested here. So it's when we extend, that's what you're trying to get them to extend. You're hoping
trying to get
to
them to reach.
And then you can do
this.
this.
My hands are very comfortable here.
Yeah.
I don't want to be slotted, I don't want to hit the cheek, and you're not going to wrap me, right?
Gotcha.
And so I'm like, you're going to try to hit me in the leg, you may try to fumble me, and you may go outside, right? So fumbling is an over, these are feet, and then just watch, right? So the less you mentally have to be aware for, less have you thought have. And an explanation of that is non-dominant hand use, like your left hand. So years and years ago, I tore the tendons in this hand. I was left-handed for about a year and some change. I had surgery to sit on my hand. An easy way to think of down is so you had a regular toothbrush, you could probably read a book or surf on your phone while brushing your teeth right-handed, right? It's not something that would take away your mental acuity, right? But by practicing the same exact task with your non-dominant hand, you're like, you don't need to look, you couldn't pay attention to any of the words on it. What do you think about? Left, right, don't take it down the throat. It's all the things you're working on, but that is the amount of stuff that you need your non-dominant hand to be worked on. That's why we tell all our guys, like, I want to fight two sword. I'm like, you should fight lefty, sword shield until this hand can fight without you being like up, down, left, right. Like it should be comfortable, and by comfortable, I should be able to just fight without thought. Without thought. Like, that'll take a year, you know, maybe two. You know what? How bad you are? How much?
Your hour is still young.
Are there any good signs to know with a two-handed weapon fighter, which is their dominant hand? Is there anything?
Assume right and just go from there. I'll be honest. 95% of people come across a right-handed, just assume right. And generally, we fish it left-handed without fail. I'm going to throw hard, I'm going to throw in, and a lot of people are they're going to big shield it, and a lot of people are going to leave their leg out, right? I'll stutter in over there, and then you'll just allow this to foot there, right? Boom. And then once I get into the chase, that's what I wanted, is that hard slot, which Barry got to see earlier, that stutter leg hard in the middle, right? Because I want open or closed, right? I'm making you chase. You're going to pick one. And it takes a while because you got big feet, right? First rule is allow the skill to get smart. And not big movements. Big movements.
All in.
Yeah. And you have to be. So by practicing as the shield guy, I'm thinking about, like when I'm fighting him, generally, you know how good I think they are. I deny this, and then I just like, hey, you're not going to slap me, you're not going to body shot me, right? It's almost like a Brown A-frame. It might be a little higher depending on.
And you get more of a lean.
Yeah. And so for that, for me, I'm just waiting to see what he's going to do.
This is literally what I do a lot of times against left-handers. I just pick up with this on, never chase with this. He's doing half and half body.
Yep.
So if I'm here and I do this, there's nothing. And there's nothing here already.
All I'm looking for is him to reach out. As soon as he reaches out, slot shot.
And then,
And it's very, very framing, very jabby, very choppy. And a lot of times it's the same. Like when I was fighting with Barry earlier, we got in close. A lot of the times I'm taking space.
look at that.
But I can't do anything, so I'll bring this foot out.
Yeah, now he has an open inside leg,
It's
open
that
body.
That hard body, right? And all I'm doing in those tensions is supplying. I was like, I'm not trying to whoop him, I'm trying not to die. So I'm like, yo, fuck, don't get hit. I'm like, I think a lot of people, when you guys get in this DNA, you're throwing too much. I've said it several times this weekend. I've won a lot of fights in which I killed my opponent. I lost a lot of fights where I killed my opponent. I won all my fights where I went hit.
That's right.
So think more about don't die and less about maybe just a little bit.
And I tell you, I do this when I practice a lot. I'll be like, I see a bunch of people throwing a lot. I'll be like, I'll pick one of them. I'm like, I'll tell you when you can throw. And that means they're out there fighting. And it's all like, whoa, I can see what they're doing. And when I don't throw, I'm really defensive.
Amazing how easy that is to block.
Not get out of position. Tons of people, especially they kill too many and they lose people they shouldn't. So we talk about you kill people who shouldn't, you lose people who shouldn't. The better you get into sword, the more flat that argument, right? And so a lot of people, they feel that success of winning, not realizing the doubling and throwing late and all those things are not what you need to be, not be struck. And that just a shit ton of this type of practice where you're not getting trained. And I find that you can do some sparring with hats and bats and the foam weapons and stuff, and when you start to pick that up and start blocking, it's a lot easier to be less tense trying to learn. Not necessarily a game, but just an approach or methodology that you apply over and over. The more repetition you have, the easier it is. Is there anything in particular someone is looking for? Haven't spoken on. We didn't get into the deep into some of it. It's kind of like how we stand. Barry, anything?
I had a question. I wasn't quite sure what your question was about identifying which person
Right or
hand is
left.
dominant, right, left. One thing, I'm wondering if you think this is wrong. One of the things I've been noticing if I fight another two-sworder is which shoulder is back. So if they come at me, I'll over-exaggerate. If they come at me this way, I'm assuming that they want to throw with the left. And a lot of the righties want to come out sort of this way.
For me, I've found some of the military guys, they're right hand, right foot, very open, right? And to me, that screams right hand because they're trying to smother and take space. Versus we are like, I want to deny your right hand, and I am always trying to fight to the open side of the shield. So if he is right
But I
handed,
guess if I come out in a weird, like,
I always assume right-handed because that's just generally how it works. And so if I didn't like, Grace was in that stance, and he was out there weirdly with his hand like that. A lot of times I was stuttering and just arm count.
oh, that means that probably.
Yeah, and same thing, same silver. Like to the left. What's he reaching?
And look at that
what I've been doing my approach really where I got Jay and David.
Yep.
Because I look at when I watch all the time you fight, you know, you tend to open taking that leg. That's what you do. And so my approach against them has been, I know they're right-handed, but I just don't think they want to throw with it. So I take that away.
Yeah,
and I'm expecting actually to get hit. But
they're also new, right? So
well, no, that's what I'm realizing. Is you're not teaching that.
No.
And that was that.
It's a trend. So,
yeah.
so for me, I'm a big push-pull component. So so these grades will close off, right? They get rid of this side. So my last grounded one was a great example. I killed no one with a body, arm, or leg shot. Everyone I killed pulled and closed, and they either got hit in the back or in the head with a thumb lead because they're shutting down and presenting more, right? So I try to fight into what they give. I don't like thumb leads because they go both a little bit.
You're outside.
But if that's what you're doing and you're presenting and you're turning your hips off, when I throw that thumb lead, I can chase because they're turned facing away from me. So a lot of it's like what you present. I would love to just
Also, he's not gonna come out and just thumb lead because what he's gonna do is he's gonna test that thumb lead. So if I do that, he's like, oh, now I got the inside leg. Thanks.
And a lot of times if I stutter, and
So he's safe.
Yeah, you're really just being safe, doing the fight.
Be safe.
But pick it,
a lot of times if people's shields come up with like I said, cross shield, I would just fish in the middle, right? Sure. Just fish to see.
And if I do this,
and then see what you got. Like, is he picking? Is he leading?
Or-
Turn it?
Or is he fading away?
Yeah, exactly. What's he taking space or giving space? It'll let me know which one I want.
I do the same thing in footwork. If I'm fighting somebody and I find that, as soon as I go this way, right? If right now I know I got a little bit of foot because he's squatted in there, right? But I also know he's ready to take that next move if I go, right? So, but I'm here, so now I'll sometimes come back in here, right? Because I already know he's going to fall that way. If they turn, so if he just turns with me, right? So now he's one step behind. Watch what happens. Ready? Here he is.
Yeah, follow, and he's going to go back the other way. I do that
Now,
all the
if
time.
he slides with me, this sucks.
That's typically what my thumb looks like. They'll come over, and a lot of people they'll twist or they'll turn, and I just come back.
And I part it.
But it's the principle. Like what do I give you?
Gotcha.
And obviously, the B and C, right? They're just used to killing people, right? You have
Well,
to
no,
learn.
it's just, and you watch over and over, and it's literally, so I'm like, well, I'm just not going to let you do that.
Well, people
and make you do
watch a lot
something
of
else.
video of me, and they see a lot of the 1-2, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and they
absolutely.
think that's it.
And the 1-2 is an opening. All that is to see if we're sword fighting. Right? I'm going to throw a hard body or arm shot and a straight in flat snap. Right? Are you prepared? Is your shield in a good position? Have you seen how I fight? And if you're not, we're going to talk about like, hey, this is my
You're going to
check.
die every time.
Are we ready to fight?
Yeah.
If you have not seen this, this is what we're going to do. And from that, I push and pull from it. What are you doing well? You're closing, you're reaching, you're giving.
And he's always trying to make you uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, I want to go into what I'm good at, or if I know you have something you like to throw, I'll throw into that, trying to bring that return back, because if I know what your next shot is, it lets me follow behind, specifically if it's an off or an over. Right? If I thought he'd throw an offside or returning through, it's a lot easier for me to come behind.
And if you look like people that like Rombalder's the same way, Rombalder just pulls you into a position. He can't outbeat you, he can't outspeed him by far, just much like sword fight. But he pulls people into positions, and you're actually running into the blow he's already started.
A lot of that is that amp guard specifically makes you very aware of measure and hand placement, because small positions in amp guard gets you hit in the arm. Primarily, a lot of the strikes from measure are stutters into your forearms, right? And if you can't block that, you'll never win a single fight in the foam, right?
Sure.
And it's a foam arm shot in amp guard is literally like this far apart. It's your stutter and then you hit your arm. You're so far apart, and that's when it takes that small movement, whether it's inside or outside, and it's over. And so that's why a lot of the guys who come over are very cognizant of where they are in measure, because that's what we fought for years before we came over.
And then on our side, that's the last thing we ever teach. Right?
And
Not
We
no
teach
more.
swing. Not anymore, right? I love it. Not anymore, but
I
that's
hit some
what
of the arms
we
the
teach.
first years, because I think I'm very hard. Rarely do I even hit the arm before a day. I don't hit the arm, but amp guard is very much right in the form. And too many people are like, they don't have good arm protection.
Yeah, right.
And they're not used to getting essentially motherfucked by someone who's an arm targeted. Right? And so traveling, I'll usually just tell people, hey man, I feel like your arm's hanging out here. 2 or 3 mornings, you're like, "Oop, please pull your arm back. Like I feel like you're just gonna get hit."
I can touch it.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't listen. You just give them a couple.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I quit hitting arms because from a foam background, that's the primary target I used to throw at. Right here. If you don't know, a small bone, if you don't have good forearms, you break my break.
What's up for a beginning to sword fighter? What's the best stance to start start with?
I typically fight. I fought a great rumble early on. So in Ansteorra, I would fight more like Ragnar. I go a little longer. I was also younger and lighter, right? And so I moved well. And so my first Gulf War I went to, I found this Grace. He's like, I feel like your feet are too long. And I was like, I feel like they're very short, right? And the reason for it is that as you specifically age or react to have to come down, your stance will have to shorten. You have to be more square in your hips. Your hands will always be have to what you're attacking because it gives you a better chance to really react and move and follow. So the older I've gotten heavier, the shorter my stance has gotten. Rag's a great example. He typically fights for longer, but he has some of the best speed I've ever seen. But even he will tell you the shorter it is, the better it is. I just am good at this, and until this is not successful, I'm not going to switch. We fought an adult swim last year with a slick glass marble they had there. Couldn't get any feet. You know what Rag's fighting all day long? They're short. He's like, it's better. I'll never tell a soul, but it's definitely better. But I fight left hand. I have a 38 in this hand and a 34 in this hand. I use 38 because that's a Ansteorra normal sword, 38 inches. And I fight open to the shield side. So if my opponent is right-handed, I use the longer sword very specifically for stabs, slots, and offsides. So that helps me always fight the open side. And from that, it helps you press and throw a quick offside. And then this hand is typically shorter and heavier because I want this hand, whether it's pulling the blind or flat snapping, I want this hand to either cover quick or to come back to a hang position. This is typically going to be a 33.5, 34, thicker backs. Like I like this one to be heavy. Specifically because if I want to hit something, I want it to blast and come back and be a very solid thing, not get knocked out of the way. And so by proxy, we teach if our guys are fighting left-handed, if you're switch to the longer sword to the right hand, switch to speed, switch to stance. Right and I don't switch because I've been doing it for some years all the time. We started teaching it.
And it's hard to learn.
And I don't fight any lefties really on a regular basis. So all my students will switch except Rags and I. And we just don't get any practice at it. Like I probably practice the most against run ball. I do that to everybody. But there's just not a ton of lefties. Specifically, there's not a lot of lefties who really press me to want not to do it. So I need some measure and some bruises to make me go, this is worth practicing. Otherwise, I'm just like, left foot, left hand, always open. I like a 38. If the king uses longer swords, I would sometimes match that and just use a heavier bat in the other hand, particularly for heads and heavily armored legs. I want this sword to be unpleasant when it's hitting or.
When you say if the kingdom is using a longer sword, I mean it's just a range.
Yeah. Like I want one of
if everybody's using really long swords, you want to make sure you're
your
at the
primary
equal.
hand is that long, right? I don't have to go through people's measures to use my equipment. So like sometimes use a little longer sword. I've used a 40 before. It just doesn't feel smooth to me, but some of my shorter guys can certainly 40.
Yeah, you're big enough to do it.
I cannot. It feels off to me. I've also trained specifically. So I have that 38, and I have a pretty nasty offside, good slots, good stutter. And a lot of that is just drawing people to want to cross and throw my leg. Right? I make a living out of, hey, you should cross, hey, you should throw my leg. You know? And I want to tell people, like, I've seen that like a jillion times. I try other things. You know?
I got to test. I cut my right sword down. I always thought that was weird. Like no one really does that, and yeah, it does.
Make your
It's a
return
lot
fast.
better
You know,
than this.
this hand is gone. It needs to come back to you as soon as possible.
Yeah.
There's actually a run bowler who told me about his two sword weird. When I was newer at my first year of Gulf Wars, I fought both of them and a few others. And he's like, my problem with two swords is tough and down. So that's how I explain it every now and then. You win when you shouldn't, you lose when you shouldn't. Your goal is to be as flat and dependable as possible.
And that goes across every two swords, no matter what. Sword and shield too.
We also been wearing a lot. I typically fight all my aspirants, all my students. Once you're in the program, you fight minimums when you're out there fighting because what we hate the most is the heavily armored two-sticker who keeps throwing, throws legs, doesn't take anything. We beat the brakes off them just like everybody else. I assure you that. But we don't have any armor because when I get hit, I want to be like, out and stop. Right? I want to be the nice guy, be like, go strike and be done. Right? And that's how it should be. And I tell people if they feel like they're doing well with two sword, fight a little less armor and see how you feel about it. You'll probably change your opinion
about how much two swords.
About how much you're blocking.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are using their calibration. They're like, oh, I feel like I got a lot of that. I'm like, well, find a t-shirt for them. We'll see how that works out for you. So I just have this here linen pants and just knees. I don't get hit a ton of the leg. I also only really leave that open, so I spend a lot of time. I don't want to be leg, and so I want you to hit me in the helmet.
Makes you much more aware of where you are.
I'll die all day. Oh yeah, right in the dome. Love it. Does that kind of answer your question about that?
Thank you.
Awesome.
Anyone else? Any questions? He's going to be around. He's always over there if you want to ask questions. He came out specifically to help people. So if you're doing stuff or have questions, find them. Ask those questions.
I'll be specifically for this. We're not a book school.
Thank you, Majesty.
Thank you, Your Majesty.